Our next Ask the Doctor question comes from Betty, and Betty says, I have non-alcoholic fatty liver, but nothing I take is being absorbed, likely from malabsorption. My skin is extremely dry and scaly, no matter how much I hydrate. Also, I have high cortisol and insulin resistance. I have been suffering more than 4 years taking more supplements, but nothing is working. God bless you now. I hope is enzyme 17 good for me, Betty. Okay, so here's what I want to say. There's a lot to unpack in that question, Betty. So one of the things that occurs with non-alcoholic fatty liver disease is that because of the nature of your liver, the likelihood or what's really causing the dry skin is not malabsorption. It's more so related to your thyroid. So the thyroid hormones that are really key for skin hydration, body hydration, and engaging fluid levels in the body, those are thyroid hormones that are actually manufactured by the liver. So a lot of times, and actually I detail this in great detail in a more recent YouTube video where I talk about treatments and resources for non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. But one of the things that is really important to note is that you can heal your liver. And it's likely that, I don't know what supplements you're taking, but you probably are not taking all of the right pointed supplements at resolving the non-alcoholic fatty liver. Part of the contributor to the NAFL, that's our abbreviation for this disease, is going to be, to your point, the high cortisol and insulin resistance. You can do a lot with that. So with high cortisol, there are supplements you can take that can drive the cortisol down, but you have to address why is the body spiking cortisol. Likely it's from the insulin or the insulin resistance, not so much stress, but if insulin goes high, or we have the experience of insulin resistance, cortisol goes high. So the two work hand in hand. One begets the other and one will trigger the other. So it's important to know that this is definitely one of those more complex cases. I usually see folks like yourself in my practice in the telemedicine space where we go virtual and talk a lot about your specific background. But just know what I find is less of malabsorption factors are at play than really addressing those underlying root causes of the reasons for the non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. One of the things to note, you may know this, or you might have researched this at some point, but the liver is actually one of the fastest organs to turn over. It's one of the easiest organs for us to heal, to resolve. I work with patients all the time with NAFL, and within 2 months, we're getting totally different labs. And also with individuals that have imbalances in thyroid hormones and assorted liver bile duct imbalances. So the liver rejuvenation is what you have to really tap into for the true resolution of the NAFL. But then it really, really behooves you to address the high cortisol and the insulin resistance. So I'll give you a tip on insulin resistance. What I find, some dietary elements can factor into turning that around, but also addressing the adrenal health is going to be really, really critical. And then also multi-minerals, trace multi-minerals are really important. So there are some liquid trace multi-minerals that you can add into your diet that give you selenium and chromium, but also, adding things like our 7M, where we have really great functional mushrooms. Mushrooms tend to be really high in the selenium and the chromium just by nature of their nutrient profile. So that can be helpful, but definitely is one of those multi-layered onions, if you will, and just have faith that your liver can heal. We see even with cases of hepatitis C, I can get those folks resolved in a quickly efficient way, but in a long-term healed state. So I just want to share that with you. And then really zero in on your thyroid function, because the liver will definitely play a role in that, as well as your vitamin D levels too. That's also contributing to potentially the oil production with your skin. I hope that's helpful, Betty. Keep us posted on how you're doing.